Ladies, gentlemen, and young ladies, good evening, everyone. You are once again welcome here on the tribune of the vigilance of consciences. At the one of the international news of the side of the Republic of Ivory Coast, things are looking very tight. Yes, the tension is starting to rise in this evening of Monday, September 8th, 2025. Tensions are starting to rise because the Constitutional Court had to read off the final list of candidates to the presidential election from October 2025. And this final list excludes political heavyweights Ivorian. Tian Cham was excluded. Laurent Gbagbo was excluded. Many other opposition heavyweights were excluded. Only C were retained. And among these five who gravitate around Alassane Dramane Ouattara, these are candidates who are no match. We have, moreover, as the impression that Ouattara would obviously have a political deal with these people. So things are heating up in Abidjan. And so within the framework of this video conferencing, this is what news that we are going to talk about. But before continuing, I ask you humbly to share the video conferencing. Put a lot of likes, lots of likes, and above all, don't hesitate to leave your differences review in comments. So 5 candidates were selected by the Constitutional Council. The official list has been published. Alassane Dramane Ouattara first, Jean-Louis Bilan, Simon Gbagbo, Lagu, Awa Melo. Well, except Simon Gbagbo, the others there are people that we hardly know. No, not at all. So the power presents this as a normal stage of the electoral process. Many were excluded. There were many candidates this year, many were excluded, but above all, the exclusion of these heavyweights. And what is the argument that was presented by the Constitutional Council? So it must say that there were questions of sponsorship who say it is not valid. The question of non-registration on the electoral list, and many things. So in reality, this selection tightens the game around secondary profiles facing a outgoing president who is already doing well installed. When we talk about profile secondary, these are people who are not too strong against the outgoing president. That means the Alassane Victory Boulevard Dramane Ouattara is open. So the problem is that, and it is an election where the power in place keeps the initiative, but at the cost of contested legitimacy. Ouattara's legitimacy is disputed. This is known to all. And so the problem therefore comes from the biggest excluded and the anger that is building to go up the rejection of Laurent's candidacy Gbagbo by Tidiane Cham, by Pascal Afesan officially for reasons legal non-registration, sponsorship invalid. But for all of their supporters, it's a political maneuver of exclusion. It is a political maneuver of exclusion since we know that if they are candidates, they will win. That's clear. In any case, one of them will win. So the first statements from the camp of those who were excluded denounce an election already locked. The election is already locked. Democracy is therefore biased. Here are the statements, the first statements that the camps of the opposition camp is doing. And so when we exclude the main one's opponents, we do not manufacture a competition but a political bomb. And Alassane Dramane Ouattara knows this. There will be no political competition, but it is a political bomb that is prepared since no one knows what is plan A, plan B, and plan C that the opposition had prepared, because the opposition knew that they were going to be excluded, and everything that normal people, as we others, wish is not to see the Ivory Coast fall back into the same thing she has known before the advent of Alassane Dramane Ouattara in power, because we want peace. We want peace for the coast of Ivory Coast. We want peace in the region, West African, and in Africa in a way global, and we know what the Ivory Coast has unfortunately lived. So there is a risk of a confrontation, political and social. I say a risk of political confrontation and social. We have an opposition that is preparing the response. The opposition will not allow itself to be to do. They had already carried out several demonstrations that we saw, but the excluded leaders multiply the message. Right now, they are calling to the mobilization. They all denounce a constitutional coup. For them, the constitution gives them this right. And when we look at all this, that there is around President Gbagbo, he will have diet of the electoral list, Because I don't know, in the name of of justice which was rendered in Ivory Coast, we judge him in Ivory Coast for something that has already been judged internationally, where he was acquitted. So there are a lot of things. They say it's a below constitutional state. So are they going to sit down and watch the coup happen in front of them? Laurent Gbagbo, for example, had said, he had been very clear. He had said, you can't come to my house and then do the thing to me, and then I am sitting, I'm looking at you. If Laurent Gbagbo returned from the he with a calm and silence, but these lately he has lifted the weather. He has started speaking a loud voice. We have the impression of someone who wants revenge. Even if in places he had said that he had not no desire for revenge, but the frustration has built up, and this exclusion is a bomb. And so rallies are already being discussed in some, and some speak of civil disobedience. You know what that is, civil disobedience? Disobedience civil, it is beyond an insurrection. Popular to push the people to disobey to the power in place, not to recognize the institutions in place. So it's very serious. And so the R could become the real ground of the opposition. This which is not the advantage of the coast of Ivory Coast. And so when we close the ballot boxes, we opens the door to the street, unfortunately. And so the question we ask ourselves, are we in the process of move towards a high presidential election tension? Well, the answer is yes. With a presidential camp determined to go all the way and opposition radicalized, the risk of confrontation is real. Ivory Coast has already experienced violent post-election crisis 2010-11. The specter resurfaces. The October vote could become a catalyst for a new crisis national that we do not want. And so, ladies, gentlemen, and young ladies, that was the headline news on the side of the Republic of Ivory Coast. Thank you. I'll get back to you later with new information. It was the voice from your humble servant, the Samouraï.